What if the very thing you're praying for, his awakening, is already happening, but it looks nothing like you imagined? What if the silence you're so desperately trying to decode isn't a rejection, but the sacred sound of a soul under construction? If you're honest, the most painful part of this journey isn't the distance. It's the terrifying uncertainty that gnaws at you in the quiet hours. You watch for the signs, scouring every interaction for a glimpse of the profound spiritual shift you've been told is coming, only to be met with what feels like more of the same. It's enough to make you wonder if you're a fool for believing in a connection that defies every logical relationship rulebook. But what if you've been misinterpreting the entire script? We've been sold a spiritual fantasy of gentle awakenings and sudden, luminous clarity, but the truth is far more raw, more real, and ultimately more magnificent. The authentic awakening of the divine masculine isn't a peaceful sunset. It's an internal earthquake. It doesn't always look like a man becoming more loving. Sometimes it looks like his entire world falling apart. And the key to your peace lies not in diagnosing his journey, but in understanding the chaotic, beautiful, and rarely discussed architecture of a soul rebuilding itself from the ground up. The clues you've been missing aren't in his words, but in the sacred rubble of everything he's losing. Let's get real for a moment. When we talk about the divine masculine awakening, we often imagine this serene, almost movie-like transformation. A man suddenly becomes emotionally available. He's writing poetry. He's communicating his feelings with the elegance of a poet, and the sun perpetually sets behind him in a golden halo. It's a beautiful fantasy, but the truth, the authentic, soul-level awakening of the divine masculine looks nothing like that. In fact, if you were to witness it from the outside, you might mistake it for a complete and utter breakdown. And in a way, you'd be right. This is the part of the story we rarely talk about because it's messy, uncomfortable, and it doesn't fit on an inspirational meme. The true awakening is not a gentle sunrise. It is a controlled demolition. It is the sacred, necessary, and brutal dismantling of the false self he spent a lifetime constructing. Think of him not as a man becoming something new, but as a building, a skyscraper of ego, built on a foundation of societal expectations, outdated definitions of success, and emotional armor. This structure is impressive from the outside. It speaks of power, control, and independence. But the soul knows it's built on shaky ground. It cannot house the new, higher frequency energy that is trying to come through. So, the divine doesn't send in a gentle renovation crew. It brings in the wrecking ball. And from your perspective, it sounds and looks like chaos. The job he derived his entire identity from. It might crumble. The superficial social circles that propped up his ego, they evaporate. He might face a health scare that forces him out of his head and into his body, or a financial reversal that humbles him to his core. This isn't bad luck. This is divine intervention. It's the universe's ruthless compassion saying, this persona you're clinging to, it's too small for the magnificent soul you are meant to be. We have to tear it down. He will feel lost, unmoored, and terrified. His logical, fix-it mind will short-circuit because there is no external problem to solve. The problem is internal. The solution is surrender. And here is the beautiful, cruel, and absolutely vital paradox. His running from you was never really about you. It was always a desperate flight from this impending internal demolition that his soul had already signed up for. The connection with you, the twin flame, is the catalyst that triggers the charges. Your energy represents the very love, authenticity, and vulnerability his old structure could never withstand. So he ran from the mirror. But the charges are set. The awakening is him finally stopping, turning around, and facing the implosion. You'll know it's a spiritual demolition and not just a streak of misfortune by the debris field. A man merely having a hard time will scatter the rubble of blame, resentment, and a hardened heart. An awakening man, even dazed and covered in the dust of his former life, will be quietly sifting through the pieces with a new, poignant curiosity. He'll start asking questions he never asked before. What does it all mean? Who am I without my title? There will be a humility that wasn't there before, a silent acknowledgement that his old playbook is ashes. It's in this sacred emptiness that the first real seed of the true masculine can take root, not in the fullness of his ego, but in the quiet, fertile void of its absence. It's a terrifying thing to witness someone you love go through this. Your every nurturing instinct will scream to help him, to ease his pain, to hand him a new blueprint. But you must understand, you cannot renovate a prison into a palace. It must be torn down. Your greatest act of love is not to rescue him from the process, but to hold a space of unwavering faith that on the other side of this sacred ruin lies the man you both have been waiting for him to become. And just when the dust seems to settle, a new question will begin to form in the quiet. Not about what was lost, but about what is to be built in its place. A foundation made not of sand, but of soul. And that is where the real miracle begins. Curious about what he builds from the rubble? The answer might surprise you and is far more profound than simply coming back to you. Let's talk about the most beautiful and, frankly, the most misunderstood part of this entire dance. The moment he stops trying to win you and starts striving to honor himself. This is the great pivot, the silent revolution. It's the difference between a boy bringing you a trophy he stole to impress you and a man quietly building a cathedral because he can't not build it. It's the song of his soul, and he's finally learned how to listen. You see, for so long, the entire paradigm of romance, even the spiritual kind, has been framed as acquisition. The chase, the win, the getting of the beloved. It's a transaction, even when it's wrapped in pretty poetic paper. An unawakened masculine energy, even if he's physically with you, is still often operating from this place. He's trying to get your love, secure your presence, prove his worth. It's a performance, and it's exhausting for everyone involved. The awakening, it shatters that entire model. It doesn't just rearrange the furniture, it burns the old house down and builds a new one on entirely different ground. The awakened divine masculine isn't building his life for you. He's building it because of you. Do you feel the profound difference there? You were the catalyst that woke him up to his own potential, to the dormant king within him who had a kingdom to rule. His energy shifts from How can I make her see I'm worthy? To a quiet, unshakable, I am worthy of my own mission, and my mission is worthy of me. This is where it gets really interesting. He might suddenly go quiet, but it's a different kind of quiet. It's not the silence of running or hiding. It's the focused silence of a man at work. He's in his workshop, at his desk, in his garden. He's building, creating, studying, healing. He's aligning his daily life with a newfound sense of purpose that has nothing to do with external validation and everything to do with internal integrity. He's not doing it to post about it or to tell you about it to gain points. He's doing it because it makes him feel whole, coherent, and powerful in the purest sense of the word. His North Star is no longer your approval, your smile, or even the hope of union. His North Star is his own soul's compass, and it's pointing directly toward his destiny. And here's the magical, divine paradox that the ego can never understand. This very act, this selfish, focused, purpose-driven work, is what makes him absolutely, irreversibly magnetic to you. Why? Because you're not looking for a subject for your love. You are a queen looking for a consort to your throne. You don't need a man who makes you his entire world. You need a man who has a world of his own, a world you respect and admire and want to collaborate with. He becomes a sovereign being, and a sovereign is only interested in partnering with another sovereign. Not a subject, not a servant, a partner. His energy stops pulling on you, trying to extract something, and starts radiating a stable, grounded frequency that you can choose to resonate with. It's an invitation, not a plea. It's the difference between a salesman desperately pitching his product and a master craftsman so engrossed in his art that you can't help but be drawn in to watch the miracle unfold. You'll feel this shift more than you'll see it in a text message. It's a feeling of solidity, of trust. When he speaks, his words have weight and intention, not just emotion. He's making decisions from a place of deep inner knowing, not from fear of loss or hope of gain. He is finally embodying the ultimate masculine principle, to protect and provide, but not just for a family, for his purpose. He is protecting his energy, his time, his vision. He is providing value to the world through his unique gifts, and in doing so, he becomes the only true safe counterpart to the expansive, radiant, giving energy of the divine feminine. He is building his inner kingdom, and a queen only enters a kingdom that is already thriving, waiting for her grace to make it complete. Not to build it for him. This is the miracle you've been waiting for. Not for him to come back to you, but for him to come back to himself. And when he does, the reunion isn't about two halves becoming whole. It's about two wholes becoming something entirely new, something the world hasn't seen yet. And the most fascinating part? This sovereign energy he's cultivating. It demands a very specific response from you. It asks a question of the divine feminine that many aren't prepared to answer. Are you ready to meet this new energy, not as a hopeful lover, but as the fully embodied queen you were always meant to be? So here we are, you and I, standing at the edge of understanding, looking out over the landscape of this sacred journey. And if you take away only one thing from all of this, let it be this: the most profound work of the twin flame path was never about decoding his actions. It was always about fortifying your spirit. This entire dance, the chaos, the silence, the demolition, the rebuilding, has been the universe's most unconventional and brutal gift to you. It was the exact curriculum your soul required to learn a love that is not needy but noble, not desperate but divine. Think of it like this: you have been the silent, steadfast gardener of a sacred orchard. You've tilled the soil of your own soul with your tears, fertilized it with your faith, and weathered seasons of unbearable frost, all while trusting that the seeds planted long ago would one day break open in the darkness and reach for the sun. His awakening is not you finally getting the fruit. Sad, it is the first tender green shoot breaking through the surface, a testament to the integrity of the seed and the quality of the soil you maintained. The harvest is still a lifetime away, but the miracle has already begun. This is not a passive waiting game. This is the most active state of being imaginable. You are not waiting for him. You are waiting with him in spirit as he navigates the labyrinth of his own becoming. And your role is not to shout directions from the outside. Your role is to hold the frequency of home, a vibration of such unwavering love, sovereignty, and joy in your own life that it becomes a lighthouse for his ship, not a life raft for yours. You become the living proof of what awaits on the other side of the fear. The reunion you dream of will not be a frantic collision of two halves desperate to become whole. It will be a graceful magnetic convergence of two entire universes, each with their own gravity, their own stars, their own laws of physics. It will feel less like a dramatic movie climax and more like a deep, conscious breath after a lifetime of forgetting how to breathe. It will be quiet. It will be certain. It will be a recognition so deep it feels less like meeting and more like remembering. You are being invited to trade the fantasy of a knight here to complete you for the reality of a king prepared to co-create with a queen. And that requires you to stop looking for clues in his behavior and start feeling for the evidence in your own energy. Does your life feel like a kingdom worth merging with? Are you ruling your inner world with compassion, wisdom, and fierce grace? That is your only work. That is the entire assignment. This path is not a test of your ability to endure pain. It is a masterclass in your capacity to hold paradox, to cherish a connection so profound it defies time and space, while simultaneously releasing all attachment to how or when it manifests in the physical world. It is about finding the divine in the delay. The journey is the destination. The love you sought was always within you, and this entire maddening, beautiful process was just the universe's way of forcing you to turn inward and finally claim it. And the most extraordinary part? The moment you truly, utterly, and completely occupy your own throne, not waiting for him to crown you, but placing the crown upon your own head, is the very moment you become utterly irresistible, not just to him, but to the entire universe. So tell me, beautiful soul, what does your kingdom look like today?